Dear all, in this video lecture, we are going to study dynamic memory allocation in C. So, before discussing the topic, we would like to discuss the question given to you in the previous lecture. So, in the previous lecture, we have given you the question that is, what is pointer in C? So, different options are a variable that stores a character, variable that stores an address, a variable that stores a float, a keyword in C. So I think we have discussed that pointer is a variable that points to the another data, or it means that it stores the address of the data, then only it can point. So option B would be the correct answer. So this is all about the previous question given to you. Now, if we talk about the today's lecture, in today's lecture we are going to discuss the dynamic memory allocation. So this means that how to allocate the memory for the data. So why we require this dynamic memory allocation? Actually, we were using the array. So in case of the array, size is fixed. So whatever we have given the size previously, we cannot change the size. But sometimes it happens that we have to change the size, that is data number may increase or decrease. For that, the memory allocation should be done. If the data is increased, if data is increased at the runtime, then we have to increase the size of the memory for keeping that data. But in case of the array, we cannot do this thing. Whatever we have given the size, that size will be fixed. So for that, there is a concept of dynamic memory allocation in C. So dynamic memory allocation is defined as a procedure in which size of data structure is changed during the runtime. By this dynamic memory allocation, we can change the size of data structure. So data memory allocation is essential. So why this dynamic memory allocation is essential? For example, we have in case of the array, we are fixing the size of array is 5. Now we are having only two data elements. Now the remaining three size memory size is the wastage. So for that, we can allocate at two places only at the runtime. So we will be using the memory efficiently. That is, for good memory efficient memory management, we require dynamic memory allocation in C. Now, if we talk about how we can do, what are the functions available in C for dynamic memory allocation. So if we talk about, so first, if we want to use the dynamic memory allocation, then we have to include the header file stdlib.h for using the dynamic memory functions in C. So how many functions are available? So there are four functions for the dynamic memory allocation, that is malloc, calloc, free and realloc. So if we want to use the dynamic memory allocation, we have to include the header file. I think we know that previously we were including the header file stdio.h. I think we have used this header file, but this header file we have used for scanf, printf, like this. But if we want to use these functions of the dynamic memory allocation, that is malloc, calloc, free and realloc, then we have to include the header file stdlib.h. Now if we talk about the malloc function, so what is the full form of the malloc function? Malloc function is memory allocation. Short name is malloc, but a full form of malloc is memory allocation. If we want to allocate the memory for the data, then we have to use the malloc function. So in case of the malloc, single large block of memory is allocated. So what is the syntax of the malloc? We have to make the pointer for the memory. So we will be writing the data type. We will be writing the malloc. Inside the parenthesis, we will be writing the size of the memory required. What we will be writing? Size of data. The size of data is, for example, we can take one example. If the data type is integer type, so we are writing a ptr is equal to int. We have made this pointer. Then we are writing the malloc. If I am having the 100 integers, if I am having 100 integers, then I will be writing 100 into size of one integer. If one integer is having size 4 byte, then I will be having the size 100 into 4. So that is 400 bytes of memory will be allocated. Okay. So this is the example that how we can use the malloc. We have to write the malloc and we have to write the size required for data. Now, if we talk about the calloc function full form is contiguous memory allocation. So calloc is very much similar to the malloc, but the difference between calloc and malloc is, in case of the calloc, a specified number of blocks of the memory means number of blocks will be allocated. In case of the malloc, only all the memory is allocated in the one block. So what is the syntax of the calloc? Syntax of the calloc is same. That is, we are writing the pointer, we are making pointer, we are writing the data type, then cast type. That is, we will write calloc. We will writing the number of blocks and L size of one element. For example, we want to allocate n number of data. Then an element size we will be writing of each element size. That is, we can take one example. We want to allocate 25 floats. Then we are writing a point ptr float calloc, the number of floats and size of one float. So like this, in case of the malloc, we were having here the multiplication. Now here we are writing the number of blocks comma size of one data. So this is all about the calloc function. So with the help of malloc and calloc, we can allocate the memory in C. What is the meaning of realloc? Realloc means reallocation. If we have used malloc and calloc and further we want to change the memory size, then we can use reallocation means realloc function. Okay, whatever we have allocated using the malloc or calloc. So what is the syntax for realloc? We will be writing the ptr is equal to realloc previous pointer and new data size we will be writing here. Then we are having a free function. What is the meaning of free function? If we want to deallocate the memory, for example, we have completed our data work and we don't want to use this data now, so we can deallocate the memory. The deallocation means free the memory. So we will be using for the deallocation, we will be using the free function. We will be writing the free and inside the parenthesis we will be writing the ptr. So like this we can free that memory so that another person can use that memory. eh, can use that memory. If we will not free the memory, then another person cannot use this memory. Now if we talk about one program using these functions, so we can take one example. That is example is that we are including the header file stdio.h. Then we will use dynamic header file for dynamic memory allocation. That is stdlib.h. int main. Since we have to make the pointer, so we have taken one ptr pointer. We have taken the variable n and I. We will be using for loop. Now we are using calloc here. So calloc ptr is equal to int calloc n comma size of int, we are taking integer. Then we can check the memory is allocated to this pointer or not. So if ptr is equal to null means there is nothing in the pointer, then memory is not allocated. We will print memory is not allocated, there is some problem, so we will be out of the program. Now else the memory, if ptr is not equal to null, then memory is allocated. Ptr is not equal to null, the memory is allocated. So we can print the memory successfully allocated using the calloc function. Now, now we can put some data here, whatever the memory allocated. So we are writing for loop for loop up to I less than n. So in all the memory allocated to us, we can put some data. So we are writing ptr I is equal to I plus 1. We are putting some integer values. Now, so we can display these elements whatever we are there in the memory. So we are writing again the for loop. So this is for the display program. We have to display the data. That is, for example, we are having these elements 1 2 3 4 5. Since I value is starting from the 0, so we are writing here I plus 1, that is it will start I to 1 to 5. So like this we can display, we are writing the printf here. So the we can display the data in the memory. Now if we want to further change, then we will ask the user to enter the new size of the array. That is, we are writing scanf m percent d m percent n. So user will enter the new size. So for further changing the size of memory, we can use the realloc function. We can take one example that user has entered n is equal to 10 here. Previous it was the 5. So we can write the int realloc previous ptr, then we will be writing the total size of the data required. So now we can check the whether the memory is allocated using the realloc or not. So we are writing ptr is equal to null. We can check if ptr is null, then memory is not allocated. So reallocation field we can write and we can exit out of the program. Otherwise memory is allocated. So we can keep some data, more data in the allocated memory. So we are starting I from the 5 and we are going I less than n. So we can write the data I plus 1. So for example, we can take the example here, that is we are writing the data in 6 7 8 9 10. Since we are starting from the 5, so our first data will be 6, then 7, then 8, 9 and 10. So like this we can display this data. So we are writing the for loop, that is I is equal to 0, I less than n, and we are writing ptr I. So like this we can display the new data. Now if we have completed our work, so we should free that memory or deallocate that memory. So we are writing here free ptr. So like this we can use these four functions, that is malloc, calloc, realloc and free functions in the C. We can allocate the memory. If memory is not sufficient, then we can use the realloc functions for reallocation, and after that we can free the memory. So this is all about dynamic memory allocation topic. What topic we have seen? Dynamic memory allocation. So in dynamic memory allocation, we have seen the malloc, calloc, realloc and free function. So now we have to we can try one question based on this topic, that is, which of the following header files must necessarily include to use the dynamic memory allocation functions. I have told you there are four functions, that is malloc, calloc, realloc and free. So you had to give me the answer in the comment box, that is which header file will be required to be included here for using these functions. So thank you very much for listening this lecture. If you like this video, then you please share with your friends, yeah, and hit the like button. Thank you so much.